This is the best book that I've read in years. It's called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. And I picked it up because I was wondering how to tell better stories regarding my personal brand. As a designer who does different things, and that, yes, I do branding a lot, but sometimes I'll take on other projects that aren't necessarily branding related. I find myself in a state of, okay, how can I tell a better story about my personal brand? And I was having these ideas of using the storytelling format of the hero's journey in order to not only tell my story, but to help clients tell their story. And I did a quick Google. I think I asked ChatGPT about my problem, and it suggested a lot of books. And this is one of the books that it was suggesting. And it's been a long time since I picked up a book and couldn't put it down. I think the last book that I read, I was just excited to read it from cover to cover, was The 4 Hour Work Week. And that book was also very, very life changing, and I recommend it. When I really, really like a book, I recommend it to a lot of people. This book, boy, it just flips everything on its head. And I think everybody, if you have a personal brand, or if you're creative, or if you are owning a business, or you're in a team, everybody should just read this book because, goddamn, it's so good. Now, the premise of it is that people, when they're running a business or they're building an organization, they focus too much on themselves. And they see themselves as the hero and the main character. This is understandable. And it was even how I think about things. When I do branding, I teach people to think of themselves as like, quote unquote, the main character, but to understand themselves more. This isn't inherently wrong. It's good, actually, to understand yourself more and know what value you bring to the world. You need to do that, right? But then we almost treat the community and our customers as an afterthought. It's like, therefore, I am this way. Therefore, how do I affect the customers? Whereas it needs to be the other way around, according to what Donald Miller is saying in this book. And the thing that sticks to me the most when it comes to this book is that you are not the main character. There's something called main character energy, right? And when you have main character energy, you think it's all about you. And then you just take up all the space in the room and stuff. There's a time and place for that. However, when we're building a business, quite often the mistake that people make is that we think about ourselves primarily before thinking about the people that we serve. But when it comes to storytelling, we are witnessing a hero experiencing different problems and being guided through those problems to reach a solution. That guide is you. So as a business owner, as a creative, as a service provider, you are the guide and not the main character. And he makes a lot of references to different stories, which is what I really appreciate because I love world building and storytelling. I love the idea of Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and Avatar, and the Marvel films. I love those things, not just because I'm a nerd, but I love the way the world is connected and the development of the characters. He uses stories just like Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, finding his guide, which is Yoda, to help him reach the end of the story, right? Or it's like Gandalf, who was the guide for Frodo Baggins, for Frodo in Lord of the Rings. In every movie now, I'm looking at every movie and thinking, who's the guide? Who's the hero? Who's the villain? All this kind of stuff. And it just really flips things on its head. And it's blown my mind. And it's making me feel like I can finally describe what I do will benefit the people that I serve. Even though I teach people to understand who they're serving, but this is when it's really hard to do that for yourself. And this has really, really helped me. It's basically acted as a coach for me. And the frameworks within this book allow you to take yourself and think of yourself as the guide. Think of yourself as the Gandalf. Think of yourself as the Yoda, and really hone in on the people that you're serving and the ideal person that you're serving or community that you're serving. And think about think about it from a perspective of how can I help this person get from point A to point B. Quite often as creators, we're actually saying, oh, I am a designer I'm a videographer, I'm a photographer, therefore buy my stuff. Whether it should be like, oh, so you have a wedding? Okay, what kind of wedding do you want? What's the outcome of the wedding? You want people to have fun? You want people to, be able to remember the wedding in a certain way? You want peace of mind? Okay, cool. I can do that with my photography or my videography, rather than saying, "Oh, I do this, therefore you should buy it." And one of the main frustrations as creatives that we experience is that people don't seem to know the value of what we do, and that's not their fault. It's really not their fault. The main issue here is that we're thinking too much about ourselves and the skills that we have and how good we are at something. But if we truly understood how our customers are experiencing their problems, we'll be able to create a solution for them as the guide. I think every creative should read this book. Recommended reading for every creative. There's many books I could suggest, but this book, I could not put it down from front to back. I was really looking forward to reading this book every single day. I read a chapter a day. I read very slowly as well. Some of you might be able to read like 2 chapters, 3 chapters a day. But I read 1 chapter a day, and it was good to be able to absorb all the prompts and everything. It has some prompts in it that you can follow, some worksheet kind of things that you can follow, which are very useful. It doesn't just tell you something and leave you, oh, thank you for reading my book. It gives you a formula to work with. So it's called Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Just Google Donald Miller. I think there's like audio versions of this book, there's video versions of this book, but this is recommended reading. Every creative should read this book. And that's it. But have you read this book? Let me know. Are there any other recommendations of similar types of books that you feel like I should read and review? Let me know. So have a great day, and I'll see you on the next video.